Good. My name is Tim Rimbui. I am the moderator for this panel, and I am joined by a very esteemed group of people who I've worked with before. I think I've worked with everyone on this panel. We are talking about management or cartels, and specifically how to grow your brand as an artist. So that is our topic for today. I'll start from my right. I'm joined by Peter Nduati, who is the CEO of Resolution, but here, he is, I think, the person I know here for the longest time, from Pine Creek, which is probably one of the most established record labels here. I think he'll just say something about yourself. Yeah.
Right. My name is Peter Nduati. I started as an artist manager 18 years ago. Then I set up the label 11 years ago. Worked with, my first artist was Mr. Lenny, but I've worked with many people, Atemi, Lady JD. Currently in our stable, we have Mankind, we have Amani G, and Shifi. I must say I also did Antonio Soul's album. And I also run True Black. I'm the chairman of True Black, and in that side we do production, we produce events, we do artist bookings. So I'm in the entire spectrum of entertainment.
You guys know Amani G. See, she just appeared from nowhere and blew up, yes? Ukweli ama uongo. Did anyone know her last year this time? Now she's everywhere, yes? This is the guy responsible. Give him a big hand. And then I'm joined by Joy. I've just been told, be careful, bro. Joy, I've known her from when she was working at Groove, from Mosound, dabbling in event management. She's worked on a lot of artist teams, Nyashinsky and No being one. Yes? I can say that on the mic.
Yes, you can.
Yes?
Yes, you can.
I think I'll allow you to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name is Joy Washira. I have, he's right, I've worked with the Mosound group for the last possibly 9 years plus, but also just have been a part of the industry for a couple of years, probably 12 going up. And my forte is pretty much in brand strategy, and by brand I mean artist, development, and just a creative around it. Yeah.
Yes. And then here is, ladies and gentlemen, Fena.
My city as quarantine. I'm Jadishi. Piki piki maua. Piki piki maua. Wazi. They call me the phenomenal woman, aka Mama Yao, aka Mama Theirs, aka the phenomenal woman. My name is Fena Gitu. I am a singer, songwriter, producer, brand ambassador for Smirnoff Kenya and Marini Naturals, and I am a hustler. Nimefika hapa juu ya kuhustle, and we'll talk more about that. Yeah.
You guys know Kaka Empire, yes? Nani ajui Kaka Empire? Atoke nje sahi. Put up your hands. Okay, cool. Ladies and gentlemen, the CEO, the man behind everything, Dennis Njenga, CEO of Kaka Empire.
Check. My name is Dennis Njenga. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Kaka Empire. I think mnajua a lot of Kaka Empire. We've worked with so many artists over the years. We've been in the industry for the last 10 years, and we've done a lot. And I'm glad to be here. Thanks.
And then last but not least, joining us, I think he's the one who has the youngest career, but he's making such power moves. We are all afraid of him. Mnajua Arrow Boy. That is his manager, Sam. And he's also the founder of Oya Radio. Yes?
Niaje. My name is Sam Dave Ogola. Been in the industry for 4 years. Raised by Dennis Njenga and Kaka Empire. But I think we grow up and you have to leave some point and build your own house. So I left, but I've been at Kaka Empire for 3 years. Kaka Empire raised me. Kaka Empire brought me to the music industry. And right now I'm doing my own thing with Airboy and also managing an online radio station called Oya Radio, which plays strictly Kenyan music, 100% Kenyan music. We're still new, been around for like a year. Yeah, so that's what I do.
Cool. And my introduction, my name is Tim Rimbui. I'm a music producer. We've just recently opened a label and a publishing company. Some of the artists we work with is Naiboy. You guys know Naiboy, yes? Fee, Don J, who was our latest signing. A young publishing company has signed a big producer called Sedo. Munajua Sedo? Yes. So Sedo, we just is one of the artists we started working with. So a bit of what I do is both on the production side, but also on the artist development side. So we'll kick off right now. And I think the first, the way I like doing my panels is just it's an open discussion, yes? We have done this for quite a bit, but it doesn't mean we know everything. And for me, who has sat on that side, where you guys are, the most important thing is you get one thing that changes your life. Sindio? Literally, that's it. If it's one thing that you get that changes your life, then we'll have achieved. It's not to come here and talk about our great CVs. Yes? So I think the first thing that I was going to ask Peter, I met Peter. This conversation started because of something that I did when I was 22. I had an artist, and this is actually what starts off our first question. I had an artist I was producing called Atemi. She could sing. I could produce. And we did 3 or 4 songs. And then I didn't have the resources to grow her. Yes? That is literally the story of Atemi. And then she came and she told me, I've met this guy called Peter. Peter is like 6'9". Me, I'm like Nini. Peter has cash. So first, of course, I was very, very, very afraid because sababu msana kula lunch yangu, si ndio? This is true. But here is where now I think the music business starts. And it goes into my first thing of, is it a cartel? Is it management? Because a conversation with Peter changed my life. This is 2003.
Right. Management. And that's all I can say. So I'm a businessman and I'm involved in 7 assets. We in the music industry do not view an artist or a song or music as a product. When you design a product, say you're manufacturing, you identify, is there a market? And you can map out that market. What do they eat? How much do they earn? Can they afford my product? The second thing is, how does my product behave? If today, if you take Coca-Cola, for example, if you go to the UAE, Coca-Cola is written in Arabic, but the look and feel and taste is exactly the same. So you need to look at music the same way. First of all, people buy a brand because of how it makes them feel. So when I went into music, I brought in the skills that I had in business and in product development into the music industry. So it's a point of an artist deciding, this is my audience, this is how I'm going to go. For example, and I'd like to give this example because it's something we argue about. Antonio Soul doing reggae. Already a conflict in them. And I told Anto, listen, drop the Neo Soul, rebrand yourself. People rebrand themselves. If he called himself Snoop Lion, Anto Lion, then he does reggae, then it makes sense. Because what you do, you can lose your audience. And those are some of the things you need to think about. What does my brand do? How does my brand behave? Okay? Look at Blinky, who was sitting here. I'm an old guy. I'm 50 years old. I've followed Blinky, and now my daughter is listening to Blinky. And I told my daughter the other day, this is the guy who did her hair. He says, what's that? Because she knows his new stuff, but he's been consistent. So, Atemi, excellent singer. I knew her when she was in USIU, but I didn't know her as a proper musician. She used to do covers. They did a song called Happy.
Which was a demo for Coke Studio that got rejected.
Happy. And I said, this lady, we can position her. I have a new artist called Shifi who is coming to the same space. And I've told Atemi, you have to mentor this girl. So music is a product like any other. And you can't give a product to a cartel to sell. A product has to have channels. Where do you sell? It has to have management, and that's where we lose
we will lose our lunch.
They know, maybe I would want you to jump in here. Maybe they know then also Joy, because of that conversation for cartel or management. What does a manager do? What is management? Very simply, for these guys here, average age being maybe 23 or 24. What is management?
Okay, so management is, for me, is your business side of your brand or career. Is a person who looks at you and defines, or rather look for markets for your brand or music or any type of content you're pushing. A manager is like your father, if I may put it that way, yeah, or your big brother, someone who's going to mentor and guide you, yeah. And most of the mistakes people do, or rather, when upcoming artists choose for managers, they go for their best friends, or they go for maybe someone who has small links to the industry. But you need to look at those two things. One, he has to be very experienced in terms of business. Two, he has to be a mentor to you. That's a manager to me.
Okay, so how I look at it is a little different, I think, from what we already know. What we have seen cartels being put as is people who look out for each other. That's what we have, or people who are currently undercutting others, or because they have different ways of looking at things, and so they travel in packs. And if you've met a pack of lions just walking together, you're either the prey for the day, or you just get away from them. And ideally, what cartels are, I think, have just been misunderstood, is just people who come together and look out for the interest of one. And I'll give you an example. If Team today decided to sing, I don't know, God knows what song, and all of us there decided to support him, you guys will call us a cartel, for sure. Those guys have decided. That's what they are. And so in future, as I look at it, there is a way to rebrand the name cartel. It's actually just a pack of people looking out for one particular one, or for that particular group. So I really do feel to unpack the meaning of cartel in that sense. But when I look at management, and I think Dennis is spot on, is somebody pretty much looking out for the interest of the brand. In this case, would be a product. Sometimes I wonder, can my music compete against Coca-Cola? Can my music compete against Adidas? And that's where I look at a brand being. So it's not just artist management, because an artist in this case, if I'd ask Fena, she'd say, I'm a brand. So it's pretty much the lookout for that in a whole 360 degree.
I think that sums up what management is. And Fena is an artist. When I first met Fena, I didn't know how young she was. It was Kinanda, first of all. You must have been, either you just turned 20 or something. Possibly, yeah. So, and then having seen Fena grow from then, which was 2011, to now, over the course of 8 years, it's 8 years now, I have seen you hustle, like guys here who are hustling, and then now I'm seeing you on billboards. I would like you to maybe just break it down how that happened and growing yourself as a brand, because I know when I met you, you were obsessed about the harmonies, the songs, and hitting that ad-lib, as opposed to Fena, that when you just say one word of your songs, everyone here. How did that happen? How did you turn yourself, as Peter said, and as the rest of them have said, from a singer into a brand, which is literally what these guys do, whether they are cartels or management. For me, it's the same thing. It's just one has gone to public school, the other one near any group of schools. It's the same thing to me.
So this is actually my 10th year. I started out as a backup singer for Modoni the Drama Queen and Della in 2008. Then I decided to go solo, and obviously, like mtu hatajui utaanzia wapi, you have no resources except the friends around you. So my first manager was my best friend, and to be honest, we did nothing. At least I had someone to walk into a meeting with and look like we know what we're doing, but we were just freestyling. And that's the time when I was feeling, music, this is my life, this is my passion. Nah. It was all emotions as opposed to logic, that this is a business. Like, I'm sitting on a gold mine here. So I had to make the shift over the years, and it took a lot of ups and a lot of downs. I mean, by the time I was getting on Coke Studio in 2014, it's my love for the music that got me there, because I would always perform, nilikuwa naenda nafanya shows for free, nilikuwa nimeanza kurecord album yangu, I released it that same year. So already I had more or less a business card to show, but I hadn't switched on to the fact that this is a business and I need to strategize long term. I need to actually remove myself from the iyo kujihurumia, woye wasanii hatupati, we're not being played, blah blah blah. So I had to remove myself from that, and it took 2 years of sinking into depression and having no jobs, and yani niko kwa floor ya I used to sleep on my best friend's floor, wondering how we're gonna get out of this state, how akina Atemi, they're being signed, oh, they're shooting big videos, me, I'm still here wondering where my next buck will come from. So reinvesting. The thing is, at the time, I came into a lot of money and I reinvested maybe half of it, which is what sustained me to be able to come back and start again. Like that was my capital. The other half I blew. Najua ukiget like a mic when you're in your early 20s, you're bawling, when do them say? So I had to learn the hard way. Like, you don't get this thing every day, so whatever money you get, reinvest. Reinvest wisely and be very aggressive with how you're pushing your work, with the connections you're making. These people you're meeting here, this is someone who will change your life tomorrow. Just say a word or two.
Jesus, amen. Say that again. I think I'll jump in there and maybe ask, for me, the artists who I've seen make very quick moves in the last maybe 18 months coming out of nowhere is Arrow Boy. And me, I didn't even know him until like Juicy. And it, of course, to someone who doesn't know, it appears like magic. Ni Cartel, ni kina Joy huko in the background. And I'm curious for you, what was, from finding the guy and growing him into a brand, what was that process like?
Okay, for our boy, I can't say like I found our boy. Kakempa found our boy. And what happened was...
Honesty is good. Deno amekuangalia vizuri. Oh.
Yeah, Kakempa found our boy. So it was a relationship between the artist himself and also wanting to be signed. And before we signed our boy, while I was still at Kaka Empire and our boy was still at Kaka Empire, we looked at him for a very long time. Just doesn't happen like an overnight thing. For like a year, I think. So it was something that it takes time, but it also depends with the artist. Is the artist hardworking, number one? Is he disciplined? Everything, like personally, before you even sign him. Is he disciplined? Is he hardworking? Does he love what he's doing? Or is he just doing the music because of the fame and something else? Does he take himself as a brand, first of all? So when we signed our boy, of course, I can't say Kakampa is a cartel. It's just that the management or the team that was behind him made him who he is today. And that's why even later on, after I left Kakempa and after he left Kakempa, he couldn't go to somebody else, just pick up somebody else who doesn't have the experience, but still came back to me, one of the people who helped him bring his brand to where it is today. So basically, it's hard work for the artist and discipline and pushing yourself to be a bigger brand. Yeah.
And I think also as someone who does radio, which means sasa wewe ndio Cartel wa ukweli, because you decide, this is true. Yeah. You decide or you shape people's preferences.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but I can't say, of course, if I'm in radio, I can't play something that is not quality, number one.
What is quality?
Quality is good production. Invest back in your music.
So now I've had that for so long, but I will give an example of something that runs counter to that. That just shows you the importance of relationships. In 2001, I was a child. 2002, I did a song for a rap group called K-South, and the song was called Kapuka This, yes? It was just a jam we did because we were messing around. And Guido, who was my boss, Guido Kibukosi and Suzanne, took that song. I'll never forget this. That's why I decided I want to be behind the glass and not an artist. Guido took that song, said, "Man, for me this song." That day it was number 3 on Kiss 100. And I was like, what just happened? How did this happen? Like, the song was everywhere, right? So we also need to be honest with these guys, right? Si ni ukweli? Ni ukweli? But had K-South not met Guido, me, I was just part of the process. It was a team. Someone did a song. Guido and Suzanne had networks at the time. And that evening, I had debuting at number 3. I was like, wait, how can it be debut at number 3 and the song didn't exist at lunchtime today? You understand? Right? It doesn't make sense. So we also need to realize the importance of aligning yourself with
Exactly.
with you.
Exactly.
You are the new Guido.
You see, if they were working with you, right, as a producer, but you knew Guido.
Yeah, here's my boy.
everybody
Yeah,
else. For example, like a new artist here right now, the music is good.
Yes.
Of course, it was produced by Tim Rimbuyi. Of course, it's good music.
Osedo.
The production was okay. If you come to Dennis, Sam, or maybe anybody else in the industry to help you push this music, first of all, they have to believe this is quality and this is something that they can push.
Okay.
And from there, they'll call the radio guy and be like, of course, if I'm to call somebody from radio today, or Dennis is to call somebody from radio today, that guy will pick up knowing it's quality that is being delivered. True or false?
True.
Yeah, so I just think it's for the artists to also look at the people who are in the industry who can help their brand grow and put their music out there.
Joy Nyashinsky, and I know Faki is his main manager, but I know you're part of the team. Yes? I know Nyashinsky from those days of K-South. He disappeared, he came back after 11 years, and is the biggest male artist. That's some witchcraft. How did that happen? It's true.
So on the story of witchcraft, I first want to agree with Sam on a couple of things. It doesn't matter, and I think it's a Lupita thing, we're in the season of the Oscars, it just doesn't matter where you come from, but there's something that stands out when you have good music. And in the recent past, I have been listening to a couple of stations and just thinking, there's music that stands out when you just listen to it. To be honest, the first place where I think, just speaking of Nyashinsky and where he blew etc., was at this concert where Jidena was on. And I know he had just done a song where he had told us he can't cut and raise for a Nigerian. Now, Jidena was Nigerian, he wings, just a lot of things going on. But anyway, somebody in the audience who wanted a really big product pushed, which was at Safaricom, spotted him and said, there's something about this guy. See, just because he had a platform and pushed, for every platform that he got, I'll have to agree, he does put out some work at it. I'd rather not release a song, but when I release a song, it's really, really good at that. So there is something about standing out when you have good music. And there's something, just to allude to what Peter said earlier, it's how you make me feel. I think we're all done with the eras of a good musician has 1 million tattoos. Then after you tattoo, there's no more space. There's a place where, there's a certain look that you have. Fine, you can dress up every day. Then what? We're currently getting to a place where what we hear is what is going to last with us. I'm very impressed when I go to places, even in politics, and I'm watching news, and a politician is quoting an artist's line. I'm like, perfect. This is exactly what it is. And we keep on laughing and saying, people don't quote sermons in the shower or different things, an MD speech or something. They quote songs. That's what we listen to. So we are back to the place where, as much as, yes, there's a platform that you'll be given, but how much do you give it that at the end of it all, somebody is able to spot you and say there's something about this kid that needs to go to the next level. I'm sure that's how you spotted Atemi. That is how Aroboy, between the two, they'll decide where he got to. That is how well he got. Because every time, I also didn't know of Aroboy, but the first time I heard his song, nobody told me that's Aroboy. I listened to it on Kiss 100, and then I Shazammed it. And strange enough, it also appeared. There are some songs we'll hear today in Kenya. We'll Shazam, it tells you no result. That's where we are heading to.
I want to disagree with both of you. Seriously. The best Kenyan music has not been heard. We are sleeping on a lot of artists. Maybe they are sitting here. I completely disagree.
Jesus.
Tim has an artist called Fee. There's a song, if it has 21,000 views on YouTube. If it could count my views, I listen to that song and I'm wondering, what do Kenyans want? What do Kenyans want? There are very many situations. Sometimes there's luck, or sometimes there's a season. If you look at these boys of Ethic, that Lambalolo, it was just a season. A phrase has come in the market and they grab it.
And Nani in the background, Tele.
And Tele pushed it after
Tele
they
was,
did the song.
But he was the guy.
Correct. So,
The Ilu in Illumina.
yes.
He was the guy.
The guy who pushed it. So, I think we have excellent artists in this country. They just have no networks. For me, I built networks, then I bring my artists to those networks. I lobby heavily on things that I own, and I can tell you some of the brands that support my artists. I tell them, if you support my artists, I'll do this for you. It's about that. Then I have relationships in radio stations. So sometimes when I book an appointment to go to a radio station, they think I'm going to sell one of my other products. Then I tell them, I have a product. It is, networks are everything. You're as good as your network. But there's sometimes an artist just hits luck, or you're seen somewhere. Actually, my opinion, controversially, about Nyasinski was Malaika and Maina Kageni. That's what made him. It's Maina Kageni who made Nyasinski. That was it.
But you know what you did.
No, I don't know what they did, but because he did a song when he came back, and we knew him on Klepto. That song didn't do well. Maina Kageni came, we had the entire day. And after that, he blew up. Everyone has, you just have to position yourself right. But he's a good singer, quality. So I disagree with you. Arobo is using your networks.
So I think I'll go into my next point, which was, we have all talked about networks, we've all talked about the brand, but it keeps coming to one thing, having something that will get you noticed by these guys here, right? How many of us in the audience are performers, artists, musicians? Look at yani the confidence. Na mnataka kupewa kazi. You're doing like this. How many? What? Half? A third? Okay, cool. Yes? So, I think that's where we need to start from. What are you really good at? I think had Nyash not performed, had Atemi never showed up in my session in 2004 to do a demo, I would have never met you and should have never. So I think it starts with, I think if you didn't do all those freaking unders, where I was lying to you that I'll give you studio time, you'd not be on. That you'd not be on. It's true. I mean,
Kumbe, you've been lying to me all along. I thought I just made it. But it's true. You have to put it. It all starts with the product, and your song, that song that you're working on, that's the product. If it's shit, it's shit. Like it won't go anywhere. So you have to perfect your craft. Practice. You're a musician for a reason. You're a songwriter for a reason. Don't just rhyme for the sake of rhyming. Rhyme to tell a story and to be heard and to be remembered. Then we will pay attention.
I want to talk about hustling for a minute. You cannot cut out hustling. Vicmas Luodola. Vicmas Luodola used to call me, send me his music on Facebook over and over and over and over. And I used to tell him, I don't do hip hop. He blew up one day and I said, what the hell did I do? I could have made a lot of money. But that guy hustled me. So don't sit there just because you have management. At some day he's going to push you. You have to hustle.
But why didn't he pick up after the wave? Like, what do you feel he could have done different after riding that wave?
So sometimes there's something called novelty music. I don't know how you guys are, but there was a guy called, the guy who did 4-in-1. Ukitaka soma lebo. That was a novelty song. He needed to have followed it up immediately. But the danger with a novelty song is the risk of being put in a box, that you do jokes and all that. I think Vicmas should have followed up in the same vein. But also Vicmas the remix is what made him when he brought in number 9. But the thing is, if he was under my management, we probably have gone immediately, did an album, and then start in Kisumu, then do a tour. But for that, you need resources.
Guys, have you heard what he's just said here? What has he said? He's talked about, he answered the question by plugging his business. You understand? That's why Peter is magical at what he does. Did you hear how he answered that question? That was, if it was me, so you've heard about Pine Creek and you think he's shit hot. Sindio? Right? That's what he's talking about, hustling. And one thing I must say, and I think all these guys will tell you here, is there's a younger generation of artists who are really, really good. You're an MC, you're a singer, and you're whatever, but the internet deludes you into thinking that you're a star, right? That you'll meet with Tim, we'll agree, then I'll buy for you views. It is true, I can buy for you the views. But are you able to rock a show? And I'll tell you, it also works both ways. We recently opened a management company, and we've had the label with fee and everything, but for me, my greatest scoop last year was signing Naiboy. And he knows of me, I know of him, but it took 1 year. And me, I had to dart him like a chick, like seriously. Like, this is me, I am good. And literally, I had to chase after him. Are you hearing hustling? So even for us guys, we are always hustling. We are always hustling. We are always selling. And for me, he told me, I am here. I have done 2-in-1. This is September. And remember, we met at a Java. He's done Safaricom. He has done Blaze. 2-in-1 had just come out. It has 2 million. And I meet with him at Java, and he tells me, okay, Sawa, what are you going to do for me? I have a studio. I am huge. What are you going to do? What makes you so special? I don't know what I said. Like, I can't, but he agreed. And I think I told him, give me 2 months. If no one in Nairobi, no one in Kenya knows you, right? If no one knows you more than they know you now, then you unaweza nichuja. Literally, that's how that conversation went. And you saw what happened on 31st, right? That was Wasafi gig. It wasn't magic. There's a process that went into him becoming a better build artist than Diamond, right? And after that, he was like, okay, sasa tunaweza ongea. If me, I'm hustling, and I'm 37, okay, I can't say my real age, and I'm 28 plus VAT.
45.
If me, I'm hustling that hard, how about you younger guys? And I think Deno sees more of that than even me. Maybe you'd want to jump into
Yes.
that.
So I want to mention 2 things. At Kaka Empire, how we identify artists, there are 3 values that we work with, and I'll say them in order. Number 1 is discipline and patience. Yeah. Number 2 is value for money, and then number 3 is talent. Notice I've not started with talent. Yeah. To just jump into what you've said, for me, I don't believe there are cartels in the industry. There are no cartels. Whether people want to disagree or agree, for me, we have no cartels. It's just how you position yourself as an artist. If you look at those successful artists that are here today, the Fena, the Kali, the Octos, the King Kakas, they position themselves in the right way. They knew the right people, they worked with the right team, and they got to where they are today.
The right team.
The right team, yeah, and got to where today. So for you who wants to venture into music and you want to be successful, just know if you work with the notion that there are radio cartels, there are events cartels, you're not going to succeed. Just position yourself the right way. And as Martin has put it, your network is your network.
Yeah. I think for me, then the next thing becomes, you're on your way to the top, you started getting noticed. Do you still continue operating? How do you build the team around yourself? Which is what all these guys would want to know. How do you build the group of people who walk into a room with you? Because for me, my team, when I was 22, was Suzanne and Guido and Eric. all those people were at least older than me by 10 years, but they got me into a room. So what would you tell these guys?
I was actually going to ask that, like, first of all, what's the expectation of the artist from the manager and the manager from the artist? Another question is why we don't have managers, we don't have good managers, which is why we artists feel like there's a cartel, because Tim anajuana na Dennis, anajuana na Peter. So we know like 5 managers. We know Marek, we know Tim, we know Dennis, Kaka Empire. You know, it's a handful.
Frank.
So what's the future for management? Because at this stage, I don't know who I can trust with my career. So because I'm independent, I have to figure out how I'm going to get that deal. So I have to become the manager. Like most artists manage themselves. So that disconnect, and I think I think you would be better placed to explain how we can create managers who understand the business, and it's not just someone who's there to take your cuts, 25%, or how much do you charge?
Well, these speakers are so. Can you see what is?
Let me just say something, Tim, just to answer Fena. When you are looking for management, and management fits different aspects of your brand. Like when you started Kaka Empire, I was the PR, I was the accountant, I was the tour manager, I was the A&R, I was the producer, you know. So I was doing so many things. And it reached a point where I couldn't handle all those things. So what you need to do is you need to start with a team. So you need to look at people around you and look at their strengths. For example, we have my colleague here called Prince. Prince is very good at social media and very good with artists. So he handles tours and management. We have a media team, a communication team. And we've identified these people from the interactions we've had with them in the past. But the key thing is, when you're choosing the team or you're choosing the person to work with, you need someone who believes in your vision.
I think maybe that is the key thing, someone who believes in your vision. Because if you're 22 and the biggest gig umecheza, siju is another free gig where you performed at 3 in the morning, how do you get a team? Sinukweli. How do you, those are the gigs guys are getting, right? It's a road show. Nini, do you really need a team for a road show? Sinikupanda lorry too. Like, how do you move? For me, I'm like, if I was their age, what I'd want to know is how do I get to the next level where I'm here, I need to get here, and I know I'm hot, right? How do I get there?
So I'll just pick that up slowly, and I'll borrow this experience from MoSound. I think one of the things that we had is, and we've done several projects, and I'll start with Groove. Would always tell an artist, please come with your manager, and he'd come with his brother or his sister. Then the work of this manager becomes to ask me for the check and whether the food is ready. That's how we knew management before. And we had to sort of regroup and ask ourselves, so why are you my go-between you and your brother or your sister in this case? And then came another level of people that we happened to meet, and we also did Twaweza, and now we met a different kind of management, where we had a bigger crop of artists who'd come and say, so in management, this is what we want. This person would give me everything I require from an artist before, and now I'm giving you as the end user. They tell me, first they won't start with the hospitality rider, which is I know a big deal. I want my chicken wings backstage, or I want this and this at the back. No, they start with what is more important. They'd ask me the real questions. What is the event about? How long do you want me on stage? What is this all about? They'd kind of get a brief about this, and that's when I saw a different level of management. But I want to be honest, one of my favorite events to have ever done when I understood management was a Chris Brown event in Kenya. I don't know if I've ever seen this level of management before. The first thing they asked was, what kind of event? They asked us every detail without a cost. So I figured, what are they calculating at the end of the day? Because not every cost was the same as the other. Where are we going? How many people? So do you want it on live band? Are you asking me for a DJ? What is the message that you want me to do first? How long am I on stage for? And then they gave us a technical rider of a lifetime. It was 39 pages. You go home, you go think about your life again, you wake up to start looking at this rider slowly. This is the kind of amplifier I want on this side of the stage I want this. When I put my thumb up, this is what it means. When I put it down, this is what it means. In terms of microphone, I know when I was showing some people his own rider, one of the things we didn't have on our own, we know we have the usual technical rider, but we didn't even have the distance between me and the microphone needs to be these meters. I'd never seen that before, let me be honest. I was T-short. I'm like, what do you mean? Now I start measuring in centimeters, how far you want me from the stage. So my point being in this whole story is a manager sort of understands what the brand is, and not just when you're booking for events. One of the things I understood is they were happy to tell us, we're launching the next album on this day, this is what is happening on this, because they're involved in the artist's life just more than just the money, etc. The money was not even a tenth of what it was. It wasn't about the percentage anymore. They were more worried about the brand visibility of this artist. They went ahead to ask us stranger questions. How many tickets have you sold? Where are you advertising? What's the publicity like? Because they don't want to do a failed event for their artist, quote unquote. It may not have been the best, but that's how we understood it from our level when we were booking for artists.
I think for me, one of the greatest schools of management or whatever that I learned was for 8 years, actually 10 years, Eric Wainaina was my business partner. And Eric is way older than me. And I got to see what a manager does. I mean, I've done some schooling, but for me it's that thing of making someone's life easier. That's the first thing. Someone who understands your brand and that you're ride or die. Yani the number of times they know her sorted problems, or him, or Peter or Joy, it's someone who has your back in a way that you can concentrate on your talent. Literally, that's what a manager does. They understand where we are going. They know after this, we are going there. But in between, we need to look like this. We need to perform like this. So you focus on creating the art. Their job is to turn the art into a product, as he said, into a brand that can be sold anywhere. And I think that's where, if you look at what has happened right now, I think in the last 2 years, because I think we've done this for the longest time, is before artists were just showing up, as he said, with their relatives, right? But now, anyone who is hot, I'd say the top 10 artists, Sauti Sol, Nyashinsky, Naiboy, Fena, King Kaka, Calligraph, Arrowboy, who else am I missing? Timmy Tidat, all those guys, I know their teams, right? And what that tells you is they have also, which is something that we artists don't have, they have trusted someone. You understand what I've said? Trust. You're not good at accounts. You're not good at writing a proposal. You're not good at selling yourself. Trust. They have trusted someone with their vision enough to go sell them. That's where now a lot of really good, talented people go wrong. You can sing. You can hold a G7 suspended eighth. You can do that ad-lib. But when you're in the house with no money for bundles, I'm a power in a blip, none will remember you're talented. But if you'd have trusted a Sam who is your desk mate in school and who knows accounts, who knows to sell something. So for me, that's the first thing. You have to trust someone with your talent. You can rap. You can sing. You can create art that, as she said, makes everyone notice and go like, "Ish, what the fuck is that?" Sorry, you can edit this out. Right? And then someone else will be like, you know what? Let me come and help you sell this. That's for me, that's the biggest thing. And then one thing that Suzanne taught me is like, we must have something to manage. If you're doing one show every 3 months, then there's nothing. I think you need, that's also something that you also must agree. I think, Peter, you have signed probably over 10 artists, maybe you could jump in there, about I have a product, and also something that he said about time. How do we go, okay, Sawa, I have a small team. How do you decide, what's the step? What's the process? For example, let me use, for me, which is, I find it hard to work with children. How did you grow that? And how do you get them to listen to you and to trust you?
You know, you've said trust very many times. When I was taking the mic, that's all I wanted to say. People have to trust you. Now, first of all, about bookings, because the top 10 brands in Kenya, apart from Safaricom, we do bookings for them at True Black. We've given you gigs, given King Kaka gigs at True Black. Many, many times, the artists we pay most money are the artists who have management. Because even negotiating with a manager, they already have, this is what we do. This is why we are asking for 1 million shillings. This is what will deliver value for the brand. Because remember, these brands don't give money just for the sake that they like you. They want to push a product. So now, managing a child, it's very, very difficult. Even a child can't sign a contract. So you have to be able to engage with the parents. And I have a short story. Amaniji was called for Coke Studio. She's 13. We had to go through a legal process with the Coke team because they're saying, look, we don't market to children. How do you position that child? Now, we see that young girl running around like that. She has a team of 5 people, full-time. Remember, she's in Busara Academy. She was performing in Coke Studio on Sunday. They are not on half-term. We have to have a relationship with the school. She has to have tutors. She has 2 people to help her with her homework. Then, is a child. She's a girl. Most of our managers are men. So we had to get her a lady minder to take care of her. We took her mother on a full-time. We pay her mother salary to hang around her. She's 13. And there are very many things you don't want to expose a child to. But the family trusted us. They said, we're going to give you this child. Her younger sister, who is 11, is in studio right now. Excellent talent. Because we have positioned ourselves as people who can take care of children. In fact, most parents now with talented kids, they call me. It's overwhelming, the number of people I'm telling, please manage this child for us. But brands also want to work with us because they know that we will protect the child. It's not just about the money. But to come back to Tim, trust someone. A lot of you guys will probably end up married. But by the time you get married, you investigate even whether the chick you're marrying or the guy you're marrying, whether their grandfather used to go crazy. Why would you select a manager who you don't know how he behaves? You have to trust each other. Because also, I tell you guys, artists, you guys are very fickle. Una mood sana. So you have to trust someone who is sober. Because very few artists are actually sober. And I'm not talking drugs or alcohol. I'm just saying, an artist already comes from a position they think, I am the best. And that level of being arrogant does help an artist. So you need someone who is sober, that they don't go and insult a brand and say, Kwendeni huko. Because I'm telling you something, there are very few brands that are willing to work with artists. So get someone who is sober, who doesn't get emotional, who also may love your brand but doesn't feel as huge as you think it is. Who can go and say, this is the product that we want to sell, and this is the price for it. That's my advice. Trust someone and sit back and let them do it for you. Okay?
I think before we go into a Q&A, it's something that we all hear success stories from the people on top, Nini Wedding Committee, is in my events, right? The special people who know everything. But we never hear the disaster ones. So before we get into, and I know everyone's disaster, so mkidanganya watu hapa, I'll tell the truth. I think those experiences are the ones that teach us the most. So before we go into Q&A, I think very quickly, a story that affected your brand and what you learned from it in growing whatever you're doing. Not a success at it was Nini and then we got 10 million. Then you keep quiet now. Like a full clusterfuck. Like a road accident, they can edit.
One thing I have to say, like in Kenya, most of us as managers, you end up being the tour manager, you end up being the business manager, you are doing everything all in one as a manager, apart from all this team that is behind you, right? So in this process, there are times whereby ngoja nataka kuambia the lessons that you go through is just the way I say, the artist will get arrogant. And you as a manager, you'll end up investing your emotion back to the business or back to the artist, venye anakuongelesha and everything. At this same process, unafaa kufikiria, I'm investing my emotion, nafaa kureact aje. There's a way you'll react in a way that will mess you up and will mess your relationship with the artist or the client. And at the end of the day, who artist walk away aendelee na life yake.
So what is this personal story yako? See, not a tea.
The personal story is, I don't know how to put it like, the personal story of the thing I can say is, don't invest your emotion to the business. I don't know
You guys, has he answered the question? You see politicians.
Like, kuna vitu zingine unaweza fanyiwa.
Si vitu. Wewe toka hapo sasa. Patiana mic. Umehok sana. Deno.
For me, I think one of my biggest challenges, if I may put that way, was when one of my artists went on stage and decided to do something that was not very pleasant, especially to the ladies. And I got calls from each and every brand that we have aligned with. It was fire. It was fire. Yeah? Yeah. But as Sam has said, I'll just go back to Sam.
How did you salvage
Uh-huh.
and what did you do to prevent that never happens? Like, he performs with you beside the stage na kiboko. Like, he tries to go to the side.
Yeah. So when you're managing an artist, it's like a marriage. Yeah? For bad and for us. That's what the pastor say and tell us to repeat when we are putting on the rings. It's the same thing with talent. Whether that artist is doing something good, you celebrate, or whether that artist is doing something bad, you correct. So how I manage the situation is just from one, of course, take the blame. Yes, he did something wrong, so what can we do differently? Number two, what are the lessons you've learned from the same? Yeah, sitakwambia ati nilikaa chini nikaandika apologies, emails and all that thing, but it's just how you position, back to positioning, how you position or how you deal with those brands that you're working with. And of course, have the artist learn that what you've done is wrong and don't do this again.
Here's a spin. At what point are you allowed to be yourself versus aligning yourself with brands and being, in quotes, kissing ass or whatever? So I got into a bit of trouble maybe last year or the year before. I mean, I get into trouble a bit just because I know I'm emotional, but also I had to switch on to logic, like ini biz. Siwezi enda nikiambia kila mtu we ishia. So this time when, also again, why we're told by these guys here, we need social media managers, kwa sababu mdomo inaweza kuleta shida. However, this is what happened. I went for a gig. We're standing outside in the rain for 5 hours. Yeah? Niko hapo na team yangu, dancers wangu, manager, everyone. We're sitting outside waiting. We get inside, we don't have a tent to sit to put our things. We don't have food. There's nothing. Like, sisi ni watu wa kubeba, tumekuja kupanguza sakafu so that other people come perform, right? That's not fair. And I've gone through this quite a bit at many concerts where junani anakam, nyinyi ingieni like you're treated like you're not adding value to this place. And it got to a point for me that was the last of it, and I wrote a really long post. I didn't mention names, obviously. My problem is with the system, not with people, because just because I'm the opening act doesn't make me any less of an artist. It's a sijaf couple. And it really affected my bookings for a couple of months to follow, because now brands were worried that, tusipopea fena food, atateta. Yes, ntateta, mbona unipay food? You get. I won't attack you directly, but I did say that this isn't fair, and it brought the positive being that many artists came up saying that, and yeah, this is true, we're treated wrong, and even promoters who I've worked with and have shown us how it should be done said that this is not right, right? So it also depends on what your motive is. Usiende tu kutukana wase.
So mine is, I think it's 2001, no, 2011. There's a show called Patricia Show that was running on DSTV. And I think Peter is the one who knows that side of me. During work, I can be very abrasive. Over here, I'm nachakana nyinyi. Even you know, over here I'm checking with you guys. but there's a line that gets crossed, I just become a default Mumeru, like really bad. So what had happened is the producer of this show, and I was on that show, I was the music director, meaning the format of the show was a late night TV type. Patricia walks in, there's a band playing, and so being the music director, I had the band that I was running, and also I was doing a bit of admin because I was running the band and everything. But the producer, because when you work in these shows, everyone is very foul-mouthed. Like, you just have to get a thick skin, ama utoke, you become a librarian, right? So, what happened is, me, I had told the producer that I will not, you can talk to everyone like that, lakini mimi and my team, just let me know on the side if something is going wrong. But anyone who's worked on a TV production or whatever knows things always go wrong. Things always go wrong. So on this particular day, things went wrong. And in front of, I think, because the crew, we were like maybe 80 people, the Mdosi, the producer of the show came and he's like, like it was like censored. And so now me, I was like, what's going on? And I'd done nothing. So now, the evil alter ego checked in. It was like a music video, like I kicked over the keyboard, I jumped down, and me and my pal, Shikanad Mashatis with him. Now, why that was a bad thing is, the head of Mnet had just come to see this show that he has paid several millions for. See, when you're young and foolish, the things that you do, right? Was there a second season of Patricia show? No. But I think my lesson there was just learn to control your temper. I think for me, right? Over here I laugh with you guys, but for me that was my biggest lesson. Of course I was never blamed for it. Other things were blamed, but that was one of the reasons. Like guys found Tim and a Jungu and another guy, like there's a full fight. So for me that was my lesson. That is how you answer that question, okay?
As I give you a side eye. So I think mine is, it will have its lessons in between. We had been given this challenge to come up with a solution. So I may just give you details because that's a show for 2010. We can draw a lot of lessons from it. And we had been told that we're currently getting into, better. So that we're currently getting into a season where people wanted, that the client wanted people to get on Facebook. They were currently at about 100,000 people in the country. They wanted to go to 1 million people in the country. And we said, not a bad challenge. Now, one of the lessons I want to give for artists is we called the people who we thought could help us deliver this because we were very gig-minded. We knew only an event can sort this manner of things. Bring people to the event, and as soon as they come, they can download Facebook. They'll be in a better place to be. But the best thing that I did, and I'll tell you, it's not another fire festival, but close. What happened is we called the artists to the room. What I discovered is most artists are actually, not most, all artists are creatives. The MCs, the comedians, the DJs, we did nothing. We sat there and just got 2 whiteboards, and all we started doing was writing. And the ideas that came out of there were immense. So there was a 2-week activation before this big super gig, heavily sponsored at KICC, is going to happen. So we got the artists on, and on every T-shirt that we had on, we removed, we had people from their hoods. We did a hood challenge, etc., but the artists were championing that. Which hood do you come from, etc., etc. Then if it was a Juakali then, would have his T-shirt, T-shirts with his photo and stuff, so go and give away in your hood. And he was so excited. He couldn't believe, Yani, you're making me king in my own hood. Let's do this. So the numbers began to grow. Before the day of the event, we're literally at 900,000 people. We have 100,000 people to go. And we told the artists, the MCs, it was a really big gig at KICC. Push, I'm sure we can do this before tomorrow. So we pushed, and on the morning of the event, as the database showed, we were at 1.2 million Kenyans. Youth. I don't know what people were doing that night. I don't know if it was just the grace of God. So anyway, we have this big concert, and we had people coming in from 8 o'clock. At this concert, we are going to crown the king and queen of Facebook, and it's exciting. And the hashtag then was *544#. Now, I don't know what kind of juice people drank before they went on the stage.
Juice, that's what it's called nowadays.
It's called juice, man. And so we are in the middle of this huge place at KICC, and at 12:30, we had at least clocked 12,000 people in. So we are thinking, no, the event is going well. I've seen Pascal somewhere. So, the event kept on getting packed and packed. And just when the CEO of the company walked in and the directors, this super MC gets on stage and says, dial 221#. I thought, I'm going to die. And we're live on TV. All the numbers are mixed up in their heads. Nobody's remembering. So because the stage is this high and you're communicating with them from the bottom, we go back and we ask the guys, no, tell him it's *544#. And the guy would spill numbers I've never had. Dial 329. I'm like, where is this guy dreaming of numbers from? And it got worse with every artist, because we're not allowed to go to that side of the stage. We thought, one of those stage managements that you make artists go one after the other. Now, out of 13 artists, 0 got it correct. At this point, I'm looking at the CEO, and all I can say is, but at least we've managed the numbers. But he's so furious because now we are live on TV. For half an hour, we have been pushing the wrong message all along. We had to stop the entire production, and I don't mean from the stage, I mean from the point of them. Zima all the mics, let's start again. You call the artist to the back, all you're doing is playing music and starting again. What did this teach me? A lot of the times, and it's just not one, because I've also gone to an event for CBA, where the artist says, thank you very much, KCB. You're like, God. Because we didn't, and the lesson for me was, do you brief the person with hype, or are they understanding what they're doing? You guys have the power of the microphone. That's what you have. When we are down there, we can't help you anymore. Peter, I think, will have done everything in his management can do, but once Amaniji holds the mic, that's the product of what you have been doing on stage. So I think for me it's actually more of a warning. Please don't embarrass us on stage when you get through.
So I've had very many disasters in the last 18 years. So there are two that stand out for me, where I lost most money. One, before Scandals started selling music, there's some years ago that Scandals could not sell music. So we have this artist, Cora Award winner, we are launching the album. And we time it well in December. We do everything right and we market it. On Wednesday, naked photos came on the internet. And we're finished. And I tell you, tickets, refunds, because it was a family show. It was at the carnival. And actually, Sauti Sol, when they used to be called Sauti, were the opening guys for free. Many years ago. I lost money. We went to court. The case has never been determined. It's still in court. That was disaster. Then the second one. We have the biggest song in Kenya. We've done an album. It is ready. We've shot the second video. So we released the first song. We gave it exclusively to Capital FM. Album is ready. We are saying, okay, we gave Ogopa the job to shoot the video for the second song. So we are reviewing the video 2 days before launch. Please note, tickets are sold. The artist looked at the video. She says, I look fat. This is why contracts are important. We didn't have a proper contract. It's a here. He said, I look fat. I said, dude, you're fat. And he walked away. And we have never spoken since that day. I have those albums in my house as a coaster. Excellent album. But he has never, and I've made sure he will never, until I get that money back, his name will be heard in other places. I lost so much money, so much money. Those are two disasters that I can remember. But I have many other stories I can talk about. And I say, whatever I've said, by the way, if you think it's someone you know, it's not.
Cool. I think, nani hakujibu swali?
I know Tim was trying to push me in the same experience tulikuwa naye lakini
now it's only 2 months old. No.
There's this gig we went to. So we did a mistake with the contract. The guy convinced us like, we'll pay you after the event.
Oh God.
So that's the mistake number one we did. And we learned from that. So The guy was like, we trust you, blah, 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 because somebody else hooked you up with us, blah, blah, all that connection. So you're like, cool, sign the contract, you'll pay us after the event. We get on stage, we go to the venue, get on stage, artist performs, time for payment, I take the artist to the car, I'm like, yo, wait for me here, I get the money. This guy comes, and then he's like, that was not a 2-hour show, 5-hour show. I was like, this is not Kenwa Maria or a band gig. Like, no, I told you I want 5 hours. I'm like, okay. Come, can you talk aside? So I pulled him to talk with him on the side. The security guys came, the parking guys, the fans in the club, guys are like, unapiga manager? I'm like, wow. So you have like 50 people coming at you. The good thing I did, I told the artist, toa gari weenda. So you are alone with the other team, the photographers and everybody. They're also scared. So they're all coming to you.
Pascal alikuwa?
Pascal akwa event. It was out of Nairobi. So the mistake I did again was trying, tempers zikapanda of course. So I'm trying to argue with him. And tempers are rising. Lucky enough, one of the guys there was like, the security guys was, okay, this is kind of tribal, but he was Luo. So akaongea kijaka, and I responded. Tukenda kandi was like, no, you go aside and talk. And that's the only way I survived. Lesson number 1, tempers, because nilianza kuagi na ule mtu, watu wanaanza kuja, it's a fight. But it wasn't a fight. Me, I was like, come, we talk. So ile time tunaanza kuongea, is also arguing, I'm arguing. Lucky enough, I'm still alive. I don't know.
So I think, before we go into the Q&A, I think I'd like us to summarize. Cartel management, I think our work here is to grow and sell something, right? If there is something you will take away from that, we must start from somewhere. That's the first thing. We must trust the people we are working with. That's something that is also important, because akunanga trust. And 3, you must have a very thick skin, because the shit that happens, all these guys, you know, me and Noyanis, my X-Files that have been shot in closets, it's part and parcel of being either an artist or a manager or being part of a creative team that is selling a brand called Fena or Arrowboy or whatever. You must have some very thick skin, right? And again, I'll go back to trust. Trust and something to sell. Without that, we are doomed.
I'd like to add something, sorry. I look at it in terms of, and I know a couple of people who have tried to get into management, or rather to be managed as they are, but have not gotten through. And those are the guys I really want to address as of now. Because that's what I have gotten in the last couple of, should I say, few years, because he can't have 100 artists. At one point, he must have 10 quality, and that's what he can handle for now. You can't have, you know, that's what I mean. And yet there are many others, and you are right by saying talent is more what we don't see than what we see. And so my message to them is, currently when we look at I'm a statistics kind of person, there is over a 60% penetration of smartphones in Africa. Guess where they lie? East Africa. You guys don't realize how much social media have taken, social media and other platforms have taken over people's lives. We all know Cardi B. We may not be able to sing her songs, but that's because she's so loud on social media. We follow her in one way or the other, or have heard about her or something. In terms of brand presence, I do think that 60% of all of that is within this room. I'm sure at least, even though I was to do a quick sum of everything here, at least 90 or 95% of you have smartphones. You can either get to Instagram or to Facebook or a place where you can put out your brands. And for me, that's really important. I was speaking to somebody this morning who told me, do you know how many songs they play in on Classic every morning between 6 and 10? Anyone wants to guess? 30 songs every morning only. So do we start competing between mine as Celine Dion and our songs? Because for him to remove a Celine Dion song, he must have one of your songs, which is what for me also makes me know a fellow radio presenter is just as human as the rest of us are. If he loves your music, it's the same way somebody else can love your music. I'd say push out your music somehow, somewhere. You can see the comedians, most comedians as of now, let's be honest, I just started getting managers the other day. I don't know who else is here in terms of talent, DJs every other craft that we have. We have so much in terms of the statistics that we have in this country. SMEs are looking for, in fact, if you give me your name right now, any of you, the first place I'll look for you, let's be honest, is Facebook, Instagram, somewhere. Snapchat, Google search, that's where I'm going to look for you. So with the penetration of smartphones that is in this country, mainly between the age of 18 to 24, if that's your target audience and you haven't been signed up, please go and start showing us what you do. You can't be hiding in the closet and then you come and say, but people are not playing my music. We don't know your music.
Cartel.
We don't, well, there's a cartel. We don't know your music. And I think over and above that is, even when you look at the statistics on Kiss and other places, please go ahead and realize you are your own medium. Social media can it blows more than we think. And in finality, how many people are on Facebook today in Kenya out of our current population? 79. Some have 79 million accounts. Why? It means there are too many people somewhere who's either opened an account once or twice. I have my page, I have my public figure page, I have my company page. All those people are looking. So I know we are big on Instagram, etc. But where is Facebook? Where is WhatsApp? That's where we are spreading messages. So that will be my 2 cents.
My name is Kingwa and I'm a writer, and but I've been venturing into TV and film and also interested in music. And I'd want to ask, I have 2 questions. Number one, Diamond Platnumz is an artist that I've been observing for a long time, and I am so fascinated by him. So I'd be interested to, if you've encountered him, like what are your observations in terms of how are they able to, like what do you think is the key to their success? Is it the brand or is it having formed a cartel because they have the whole radio thing there? So I'd be interested to hear from each of you just your observations in how they're doing their thing. And then I'd also be interested to hear for each of you, whether it's an artist or a manager, who for you are the benchmark that you'd want to reach, whether it's as an artist manager, as a record company, or as an artist. Who are the benchmarks, whether around the world or wherever? I'd be interested to hear from each of you. Thanks.
I think I'll divide up the question. There was the Diamond question will be answered by her.
Like whose work?
And her, because she's the connect for Wasafi here.
Ah, nice.
Yes? No, don't leave, it's true. She's their connect here. So, then another question there. Then I think the second part of the question, maybe Peter will take it next.
My name is Lexi, and I have a question about the management who deals with the posters in an event. Like last year, we did a gig in our church in August for the Leavers Bash and those for the back to school concept. And I was part of the poster. My name was in the poster. So I sacrificed the whole week to take the posters to post everywhere and to in audience in your Facebook as in kwambia watu wakuja kwa concept. Then on Sunday when we did the gig, I never got the amount for the shares. So I want to know how the money goes and how they use it.
I think I'll answer that. Next.
My question is, my name is Edgar, I'm a producer. So my question is, do you manage producers as well? Because I've seen producers like DJ Khaled and the likes of them put out albums and stuff. So is there a management structures for producers in Kenya?
It's coming slowly, but yeah, I think I know I'll answer that because that's what I do every day of my life.
There's been talk today about demographic and figuring out where your audience is and getting to them. So a lot of the music distribution now, I think if I could put it that way, is on streaming platforms. That is Boomplay, SoundCloud, Apple Music. But if you check the geotagged playlist, there's like very little Kenyan content on those playlists. So are there structures or is there infrastructure? And if there is information like maybe statistics on how people are using that data to stream and how we can make Kenyan artists more visible on streaming platforms. Is there any structures on that? Is there any information on that?
Okay, cool. I think let's break down those 3 questions. Maybe you guys can answer that one. Then let's start with the Wasafi.
So the question, if I may just reiterate, was what they're doing right. Is that what you are asking? I'll start you with what they did wrong in the beginning. And by dealing with them, I'll tell you that the first time I met them, I thought they were actual businessmen. Because the first time I did meet them, they were wearing suits. And they had come for a business engagement, but they could not speak in no word of English. So we are communicating in the most conk Swahili versus another level of the most conk English. It was a clutter confusion right there. But anyway, they started as, they're very conscious to make their music known. They know what they're holding, and what I call music is a product. I don't understand, but that's one thing that they always call that for sure. They say, I have another song. Niko na nyimbo nyingine. Because they are sure this must be it, and I'm going to go 100% at it. So they always break it down for me in this way, because the first time I met them, the first thing I asked them is, first, is it your team or is it you? And they told me, Joy, you hire character, you train skill, which pretty much answers what we have been saying here, that you want somebody who trusts you, somebody who knows you, whose character is correct and wants to go with you, then you can walk the journey in a pack. So when you see them like that, first they are friends. It's not even a cartel of sorts. First they are friends. That if I'm to feature in your song today, I'm going to drop everything I'm doing, because first I know what you're up to. You believe in a common vision or a common pool. That's where you get your values from. So you have common values together. But other than what they were saying in terms of you hire character and train skill, they also did teach me the essence of hard work. I thought I was a hard worker. But I was telling Fena today, actually, just before we came through, during the A Boy from Tandale event, I was with a few friends of mine. I don't know if I slept for a week, not because of me, but because they would do the rehearsals on stage, come back, go do the rehearsal. It's for 300 people. The amount of hard work that I can confidently say Diamond and his team put in, I can't even quantify myself. Sleeping 4 hours is not a big deal for him. He can even do 2. So he does put in the craft. Now, whether somebody else plays the music or not becomes the work of his management, which pretty much also answers, he's very involved as, I'm going to give you a good product, you do me proud and I'll do you proud. So there is a full system, there's a full ecosystem around that. Somebody else does this, somebody else does this. One of the things we will never interfere with at some point, or rather I will not, I don't know if the other labels and stuff do that, you never quite interfere in an artist's craft, because you don't. There is what they already do. So as long as you can give good craft and you have a good team around you, I think then you have magic. And that's what I've seen from them. Even by observing, if they entered in this room, it would be the answer in harmony. So I guess also the question between you and your team, if you have any, is do you believe in the same thing? Do you have common values? And do you have a team that would die for you, literally? I don't know if I've answered your question correctly. Okay.
Cool. The second part of your question was? Oh, like, is there an artist or like something that we're working on? Like it's a personal, is it like a hypothetical question?
So for you, who do you look at around the world and say, like, damn, I really like the way this person done it. Like, this person is, if I ever get anywhere close here, I can die happy. And also for you, for Fen as an artist, and so for
I think
everyone.
for us, because we are building an ecosystem at Innovator Music, where there's the production, there's the label, there's publishing. What we're trying to grow is an ecosystem where at any given point, there is work for everyone that we represent. So I think the people I'm looking out for and thinking, hey, I think you guys are doing something really awesome, internationally will be a small record company of, there's 3 people and there are 5 artists. That company is called TDE. TDE is the company that signed Kendrick, Caesar. Like, their imprint is so loud for a very small operation. Like, it's so small, and they have changed the way music is done. And then everything, publishing, management, and they're a small label. Like, I was reading about them, I was like, yo, that is fantastic. And also in Africa, it will be, yeah, Black Coffee. He's also doing the same thing. Everyone knows him as, Black Coffee, everyone knows him as a hit DJ, but he has a streaming service that he's doing. He has this artist he's bringing up. So you build an ecosystem where you're able to, for me, that is the people I'm looking out for. I don't know.
For me, internationally, would be Chris Brown. I think he's such an enigma, and that's the thing that makes me really study him and how he moves and how he gets away with so many things also, and yet still at the end of the day his song will be the hit song or whatever, and there's that. And then there's Tiwa Savage. I love Tiwa. I think she's queen. Just the way they've branded her, packaged her, the quality of product is out of this world. And then Home, in terms of management, has always been Sauti Sol, Nyashinsky, and Kaka Empire. I really admire the teams behind them. I've been able to watch them work at different concerts and pick things here and there. Also been able to network with some of them and meet up with them beyond that.
Yeah, for me as an artist, I look up to Fena. Okay, I'm joking. I like the model, this management team for the Migos, the way they're doing the thing. I think they're in a different level of how they handle brands, and then taking brands from down where they're not known to where they are. Locally, what I can say is, and this is my view, we don't have a record label that is successful to date.
Pop music, we have to clarify, because River Road has billionaires. So I think let's also not make blanket
Yeah,
statements.
pop music. I apologize. So we
River
don't
Road,
have...
Ogopa was there at one point now.
Yeah, Ogopa was there. Ogopa, for me, was a studio. Caliph Records was a studio. There's a clear difference between a record label, a management stable, and a studio.
For me, I'll start locally, of course. Sauti Sol, my former label Kaka Empire, I'm lucky enough to be through that process and getting to learn a lot from them. I also look up to Black Coffee a lot, like Tim was saying, in Africa, yeah.
Right. Mkubwa fella, you know Mkubwa fella? Mkubwa na wanawe? What that man has managed to do, I admire, and look at all these artists like Kinaboso. If it wasn't for Mkubwa, there wouldn't be Anna Sly, all those guys. I admire Mkubwa. Internationally, P. Diddy. If one day I could wake up and I'm like P. Diddy, then I'd be very happy.
I think would be, what do I call it? There's a team, and I'm just not looking. I hear a lot of artists, but I do see a future in content in comedy, content in DJs quite a bit, and there's someone who asked about production and just being a producer. I see a big future in that. I think a team that has wonderfully done that is, I'm not gonna lie, there's something about the Viacom, and I know it's a group that has BET, it has MTV. It's just decided all the kids must come together and have platforms all around. If you see what they're doing, if they've just opened platforms beyond where everybody can have a stake at it. And the lead for that was a lady by the name of Deborah Lee. So, yeah.
Cool. So I think we'll move very fast. The answer for your question about the posters, if I get what you asked, is your main gripe is you did this work of putting the posters around, and after the gig you are not paid. Yes? Okay. Did you have an agreement? Do you know who scammed you? Nikuanani? I think literally that should be it. So I think for me, the learning from this would be, how do you enforce mse akikugonga? That's the first lesson I learned in music business. Mkiagree na mtu alafu akugonge, how will you enforce? How do you prevent yourself? Do you get a deposit? Because imeenda, you've not been paid. So, and for you to talk about it now, inakuumiza, si ndio? Yes? So I think maybe how I'd look at it is, in future, a depot would help, a deposit. And 2, enforcement. Enforcement could be a lawyer. It could be Pascal. It's true. We all, like tusidanganyane, someone who will go tell them, hey brother, niaje, and then they get afraid, literally. How do you enforce, the first thing you learn in music business school is, how do you enforce a broken agreement? Do we have a piece of paper? Do we have that says you are paid to do this or you are doing this? Because see, without that, it becomes he said, she said. I think for me, your hustle of the poster distribution, which is important for events, is maybe a deposit or enforcement. Enforcement is for me always key. In case we agree with Peter, we've made many agreements, and I know always there's an enforcement mechanism. Enforcement can be, will we go sit and talk? Will we call lawyers? Tutashikana mashati? Will I call Pascal on you? Like, those are all different enforcement mechanisms, but you must have them so that it's not, the enforcement can't be you talking about it at an event or venting on social media, because you wouldn't have gained, right? So for me, I always say, find an enforcement mechanism so the person you're dealing with knows if I screw you over, there is a way that I will get paid. I'll jump into the conversation because I want to take questions from here, then we wrap. Producers, right now, producers have been in the background and they are coming out. Producers get work from writing and recording and mixing, yes? So for the longest time, they have just been the invisible people in the background. For you to get work, I think people must know you, right? That's where it must start from. For me, my special skill that brought me here is I can produce and write songs very well. I do that. I've done it since I was 16, when I first got paid like 20 or 30K for a song at 16. But I realized because I'm not as talented as her, because I used to be a rapper and I sucked. Yani, those shows were the worst thing in my life. And those videos are nowhere, and the one who has them, I threatened them. So you won't find them, you see, enforcement. So, I realized I was good as production, but to be a good producer, to get constant work, a lot of people must know you. That's one thing I learned from Suzanne. So, split sheets. So by the time me, who has a stable of 4 producers, I'm running, Sedo, everyone knows Sedo, who I'm handling his publishing, and Rix, who did 2-in-1, and a couple of other young producers, Techniques, who is at the coast. I've only gotten to know them because people call me to do for them work, and I'll say, yes, I'll do the work for you. You give me the job, I'll give my guys. Literally, that's how it works. Literally, that's how it works. But for me to know you, I must know your work. And to know your work, it must be somewhere. Whatever artist you're working with, I always used to walk around with CDs. The first time I met Peter, I had a thing, like, hi, I'm Tim, you've heard this song I've done with Atemi, here. So how are you, but that was before the internet. What are you doing? So in as much as you're looking for management and all those things, people must know you. YouTube, do you get credits? And not audio buy. The worst thing you can do as a producer is to write audio buy. That means nothing. It's either produced by, mixed by, recorded by. Audio by, you're being shafted by an artist completely. It means you won't get on credits. So it's something to think about. Streaming platforms and playlists at the end.
Yeah, for the streaming, for example, I'll give an example of Oya Radio, which is an online radio station. If you look at the back end, the people who stream are not in Kenya. So the number of people that you get are maybe Kenyans, but outside Kenya. So you end up finding, for these other platforms, even if they are Kenyans or they have them in their phones outside Kenya, they won't search for the Kenyan music here. So that's why you find there's an international song in Kenya, for example, Boomplay, I don't know if that's right, but you'll find there's a Nigerian song first and then a Kenyan song down. Because the people who are searching for that song are not in Kenya. They are Nigerians, of course, but they have the app, but they'll be streaming for their own music, not a Kenyan music. So it's also back to us Kenyans who have the apps and everything. Can we stream for the music while we are here home? So that when I go out, the first song will appear it's because of the numbers of people who are searching for it. I don't know if that makes sense.
If I could also jump into that question very fast. I don't know, the guy who asked the question, I can't see him, he's wearing a hoodie. What's your name? Brian. Yeah, Brian. So, Apple puts out a list of the top 10 songs on Apple, top 100 songs of Apple Music every week. The last time I checked, out of, because I put it on the groups that we are on, there were, in the top 10, there was only one song. Top 10 in Kenya, it was Dundaing. The rest, which was number 6. Then after that, the next song at number 35 was 45 was 2 in 1. Then the rest was, I remember those Nyashinsky and then 2 other Sauti Sol songs. So in a top 100 list of popular songs on Apple Music, we had under 7 songs, which also means maybe for our guys, we are not being very good at business. Our songs are not there. Everyone puts their songs on Shazam, on Spotify and all those things. If you go check the Spotify list, it's the same thing. Blinky is there, and those other guys have said. So you'll find the reason why they keep calling for gigs is I go onto Apple Music, I'll find Naibo, na Nyashinsky, na Fena, na Sauti Sol. I go on Spotify, it's the same guys. So what we are calling a cartel is probably someone who is more organized. So I firmly believe that's the future of music. Playlists, personally. That's for me my next hustle, playlists. I know someone who is setting up from South Africa, they're setting up a business here, and their whole business plan is, I can put you on a playlist that has 600,000 listeners. Like, that's the new business plan. So if we don't evolve, we will die. So you are right. Me personally, and also if you look at now, even Skiza has a playlist. You guys, do you know that? You can go and know the most popular song on Skiza this week. So sometimes Apple, Spotify, all those things may sound foreign, but Skiza has a playlist. Boomplay has a playlist. It's Brian who runs it. So if you don't know what's popular, that's how they'll determine who to call. So you are right. I personally believe that's the future of how we consume playlists.
My question is about distribution. Just reiterating on what that gentleman was asking. But my question is, how will I know how much you're making as a cartel or a manager when the music is playing out there? Is there like a list, a tally of, how will I know? Because I know an artist who I'm not going to mention, who one day I told, hey, by the way, I heard your song playing in Deezer. I think it's French company. Then the artist was like,
Hiyo ngoma yangu ilifika prowaje.
So, you cartels and managers, whatever it is.
I have released a song called Najuza. So, nilikuwa nashindwa like how to market the song. So I got somebody, akaniambia atanipushia ngoma. So they had wakaitisha do fulani. So I gave them out. But at the end of the day, they fucked me up. So my song never played anywhere. But saa kuna boy fulani tumejuana, so nikampatia like do fulani, ngoma yangu ikachezwa Kiss, pia na niambia sijincheza 1FM. Sana shindwa. I want to get somebody like I can trust for my music. Then after to make, maybe to go on your door after marketing. Sitakuwa vivi. So how should someone do to get someone like you can trust for your talent, or sign up a contract with some? How does it go?
Yani, that's such an honest, Yani. Wow. So you as with answer last. Let me take, I think your question here, though, you guys, his question, you guys do it.
For data,
statistics. Yeah.
To know how.
Yeah. Then the one for, so we just, yeah.
Right, so these days you get data. Whenever we distribute music, we get data. when we sign up with an artist, it's already agreed that every month we'll give you accounts, verifiable accounts, because you'll know. You know, Skiza Tunes, this is it, this is the money we received. In the past, you could be conned, but now you can get data. The days are gone where I come and tell you, oh, MCSK didn't pay me, or Skiza haven't paid me. You have to give that data, and then you give the account to the artist, and then you pay them.
Cool. And then also,
if there's a professional label, I'm sure there are guys who do not give that data.
Okay, so there's two ways of looking at that. It is a fact that a lot of young upcoming artists get taken advantage of. They sign agreements and they get taken advantage of, and their music is sold, right? But the flip side, as someone who's done this a lot more than everyone else, you will find, I don't know the unique situation of yours, but a lot of artists don't want to care about their back end. I'd be curious to know, in your specific situation, was there a contract? Did the artist read it to understand what, you see, you don't know. Did the artist, was there a contract? Did he read? If he didn't read, did he come with someone who could be an older brother, a friend who is studying law, someone? So you can't say you got fucked over when you've not followed a process. Simply, if I run across the road right now outside here, there's a chance I might be hit by a car. It's not a cartel of cars that's out to get pedestrians. You understand? Hakuna cartel ya magari, right? It's just because I didn't follow the rules of common sense of crossing the road. Because guys will be like, why was Tim killed? He ran across over here. So no one should, and I understand it happens, but also in your unique situation, it's good to find out the guy who had these songs on Deezer, what distribution agreement did he have? Did he sign? Did he give someone a master? Like you see, your situation is very similar to his, but his is very clear. Alitumia msedo. That means there's either an M-Pesa transaction or something, sindio? You see a process, so he can follow up. And there's a promise made, you'll be played on Kiss. So he has come with verifiable data. So for your friend, because it's a very unique situation, it'll be interesting to find out what did he sign, with who, how was the enforcement mechanism. So do we go again with a lawyer? Do we go with cops? Or do we go with...
Just to address your question on trust, I don't think trust here means that you don't have to do due diligence on your end or that you don't have to know anything about this. Please, I think on the stories of, on the issue of copyrights and all the laws that need to be signed against, especially in contracts, please be very careful. We've heard of people who have trusted contracts that have even gone to Skiza, have lost millions of shillings because of that. Trust just means that the person takes care of just not your money, but your brand in general. That's what I think when I hear the team talking about trust here, is more trust towards this person has my back no matter what. Please ensure that that is followed up with contracts on the same and clarity. There's nothing as bad as you have gone to take, or whichever artist that is has gone to a court of law. The first thing they'll be asked is, do you have a legal agreement? If it's not there, you don't even have a case in the first place. So, yeah.
But trust is two ways. Actually, the converse is more common, where I've signed you as an artist, I've made you big, then all of a sudden I hear you're doing a gig in Coast, then I call you, tell me it's a free gig. My artists don't do free gigs, by the way. I find there was a contract and you went and took less money so that the label is cut out. That's the most common. And now, you can sue me because I have assets. If I go to a court of law to sue an artist who has nothing, I may never be able to enforce. That's more converse. So the trust is both ways.
And what I suspect with that artist you're talking about is the contract that they signed with the CP, or the content provider, has a clause where they say they will distribute the music on several channels, one being one of them. So please understand, don't be lazy. Don't just create good music and wait for the managers to do everything for you. Just take that extra step and understand the business.
So, the one for mentorship and how do you grow? You asked about one, finding where is the money, and two, how do you grow your... Is it the artist or your talent company? The brand of the artist. But see, we talked about that. I could have been wrong. I'll say I if we talked about that. We did, yes? It's just because of time. I think we talked about how to grow a brand. Maybe, Peter, you can emphasize.
There was a question about marketing from him. How do you
Yeah.
market a song?
Yeah.
All of us use different ways. For us, by the way, Facebook ads, we spend money. And to answer your question, Brayo, geotagging is very difficult. But if I want my song to be listened to in Nigeria, I'll run Google AdWords on YouTube in Nigeria. We did that for Mankind because we were looking for an African platform, and it worked. So there are very many different ways. We use our relationships in various places. So sometimes it means you're going to speak to not the station, but the presenter. Some stations, you send it to the PC. Then you go get articles written. Some people use social media. There are very many ways of marketing a song. But you have to try and use as many ways as possible. As you look everywhere. The word of mouth, get guys to talk about you, appear in gigs, do free gigs. Fenada doesn't do free gigs anymore. She used to do free gigs. You have to plug yourself everywhere. And it's the same thing with any brand. A brand, once you identify who you want to talk to, you have to plug where they are. If come ni gospel, do free church tours. Position yourself that way. Then you may find a bigger artist like Fena, collabo with them. If she likes you, she trusts you, and she wants to plug into your group, because even you have people who follow you, she could do a collabo. The artists, like Diamond, you pay him. Still marketing, you pay Diamond to appear on your song. You go to Calligraph, you pay him to spit on your song. And the song becomes big. There are very, very many ways. We can't even answer that. We need a whole day.
I think I'll just jump into his question. He did a song, he paid guys who shafted him, and he's wondering how to blow it up. And he's been shafted severally. I think for me, when I heard that story, I've heard it several times. But what I like about it is it's honest, one. It's someone who realizes you need to pay a marketing cost. Yani, that is fantastic. But it's where the money went that was the problem. So for me, something that I've learned recently is Odo, because the average going price for Wasani where they get scammed, it's between 5 to 25 Apple, but in batches of 5. Kwali ama uongo. Ni 5,000, 20K, sindio? Yes, I know. So, that 20K, vile Peter amesema, right? If you put it to Facebook, your biggest audience is not, radio will always play the hits first. So never start with radio. Grow your audience in your campus. Whenever you are breaking out a new artist, what's your squad? Jiji lako ni gani? Is it, if you are mainstream, it'll be chart. It'll be where your hood is. Think of any artist who's come up. For the biggest go-to-market strategy for an artist that I observed and I thought was magical was King Kakas, and I think he'll talk about it. He literally he did a whole rant for fuck the DJs and fuck radio. Do you guys remember that? That was 4 years ago. There was t-shirts that were printed. He made it a brand, right? And it's like, I will grow with the streets, right? So even for you, radio will only come when you're huge. Everyone is talking about Naiboy now, but no one knows he has a 14-year career as a rapper called Rap Down. A lot of you guys don't know that. 14 years. Imagine. He woke up one day, he's like, hey, this thing is not working. 14 years as a msanii called Rap Down. Right? So, it is good that you have identified you need to pay, but don't pay anyone to put your songs on radio. Put that budget into Facebook. Mm-hmm. Facebook, you can run an ad for 100 bob, for even 50 bob. Put your money in Facebook and then Google. It's cheap. 100 bob you can find. Don't pay anyone for radio. Then grow, is it your hood, Maliuko? Yeah.
I'm even surprised that guys are still paying for play. I don't believe in payola at all. And as it is, I've been asked to pay 150 Gs by an agent to get Steam, my new song Steam, on Trace and MTV. And for me, I'm thinking that 150 Gs is what I need to put into the next
Marketing,
video,
yeah.
into marketing the song. So I'm here thinking, okay, I could gamble and use this 150 Gs for this, but then it's not worth it at the end of the day. It has to be my merit that makes you want to put my song on radio, on TV. So watakam kuchukua ngoma zangu because I'm doing the groundwork here. Napea ma DJ, napea ma watu wa matatu CD ama flash disk, nazunguka on the ground, napatia uochi CD. Like, your resources are around you. Build yourself at home. Wale watu ni squad wako, on your fans wako wa kwanza. By the time unafanya show, umeitwa sijui KICC, you've built that audience. So unaweza, hata mtu wa radio ndo atakuja kutafuta. Don't pay them.
That 25K can change your life if you put it on FB. So you can account your FB. Even if you don't have, find someone who can. Because you see, you can. Sikuna, you can pay by M-Pesa. Like, there's ways to do it.
Yeah, just to easily answer your question. First, usilipe mtu tena. Just stop. And if any other artist who's here, don't pay for play. That's the worst thing you can do to your career. But the secret for you to get played is to create demand. Just create demand. I'll give you an example of what we did with King Kaka when he was Rabbit. I have my colleague here called Brian. What we used to do is we identified a few street DJs back then who are playing mixes in matatus. So what we did is we ensured that in each of the mixes that they distribute to the matatus, our song plays 3 or 4 times within the mix. So whether you're going to work in the morning, whether you're coming back home in the evening, you will know who Kaka is. Then what we did is we did a lot of stickers in the matatus with lines and lyrics of the songs. So whether you listen to the song on the TV playing on the matatu, you're able to, picture who you exactly who's singing. And we created demand. People started calling radio stations for Staki Kukuona. And that's how we got where we are today and who Kaka is today.
So create demand. 25K you can make even for Wangeshi. Wangeshi, the rapper, who was here in the panel before, her and Provoke came to see me. There's a strategy of stickers that we went and printed. A sticker is 18 bob. Like us guys, we look over here, we are cool, nini. You go River Road, you print stickers, we put them everywhere. So people it's very easy to manipulate people. If 100 people see the same sticker, there'll be fear of missing out. Ni sticker too. You give, a sticker is 5 bob. So you see, all of a sudden, we are waiting for Peter to come and give you 20 million for your career. But if he has 20 million, he won't start with you. But if he heard your new song has 100,000 views and he doesn't know who you are, he'll call you. That's how it works. So with 25K, I can even give you a budget. Right now, maybe 10K ya FB, the rest you do stickers. Then a lot of people don't know the easiest way to break popular songs and even vernacular is Kalonje. Do you guys know DJ Kalonje? Demakufu. All those guys, I sat down with them over Toyeza. They are brilliant. They have more influence than any radio person because 85 to 90% of our population is in AMA 3, right? And all of them have either a radio or a TV. Those guys, and then now you see they are running themselves like an agency. I sat down with them, I was given it's like going to a radio station. Kuna campaign, like if we are doing a campaign for you to break your songs, what do you do? So I think for you, your 25K or your 20K stickers, a DJ like Demakufu and whatever, and you'll find some of them, you don't even have to pay. If they like your song, they'll just brand it. You see what she said? Sometimes does not even have to be money, right? My pal over there, Kiki, did a song about Nyashinsky, his chick falling in love with Nyashinsky. That song, we've pushed it everywhere because it's such a funny, quirky song. If your thing is good, people will come.